Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
That's what I tell 'em. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. Hot or cold, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with a Hangout and highlight session with the Success Chronicles. So excited to have Dr. Christina Porter on with us, an amazing lady doing some great things, and so excited to have her on to highlight her and her journey. But then there's a huge initiative that she's working on, and I'm glad to help share that in hopes that you can check it out and show some love as well. So, Doc, first, thanks so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here today.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, let's dive into it. Now, off air, we talked about your journey, some of the amazing things that you've been blessed and fortunate to achieve, and some of the things that you're involved in with the movements. But if you don't mind, just share a little bit about, yourself, so the audience will have an idea of who you are and what it is you do.
Oh, yeah. So, my name is Dr. Christina Porter, of course. Christina is fine. But, I'm a mentor, an educator by trade. I've spent over 20 years in the education world. And so I've seen a lot of things over the years. But outside of that, I've also, tried to work within the community to best kind of help, guide young people and to help guide their families and things, to just really want to help them see the best versions of themselves. I think that's always been my number one goal. That's always been my purpose. And that's always really been kind of like my definition of success, right? Is being able to walk into what you were called to do. And so I think that's what I'm doing. And part of my community work has been working with the Chauncey Project. It's, something I got involved in many years ago, 9 years to be exact, just by chance, a chance networking opportunity between myself and Chauncey Glover, and just aligning our similar purpose, ideals, and the work that we were both kind of doing at the time, which kind of led me to the program. And so I've been here ever since, and have really enjoyed my time, working with the different families and with the young men who come through the program, because it is a nonprofit mentoring program, and it is very specific in focusing on things like leadership development, character, and identity development of young men, to help them be the best versions of themselves, so that they can have, people to look up to and things to aspire to, rather than just things they may see on, the television or social media screens.
So good and so true. I almost gave you amen. So good and so true. It's so needed. But we talked about some of the things that are like in our society now, just the gaps. Us being in education and being able to see some of those things. We talked about some of the gaps and the need for interventions. Just kind of hit on that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of, even since, especially since like the COVID era, there was always a need for intervention, especially with our children of color. They, they get treated differently. They have different experiences when it comes to, how they view and see and experience school every day. When you're looking at things like behaviors and discipline and all of those things, people always talk about how the numbers are so high in discipline, and how administrators have got to stop doing this and stop doing that. And, when I was doing my research, my opinion from that came that starts in the classroom. It's because that's where discipline is initiated. It's initiated in the classroom. So it's based off of those relationships relationships that these children are having with these educators in the classroom before it even gets to the level of discipline and dealing with administrators and things of that nature. But, so their experiences are not that favorable. They're not getting, they're not being viewed as people who just have a different time based off of what our culture says and things of that nature, certain behaviors that are seen as tolerated by other groups for our young men, are seen as not acceptable. And so, those kinds of things change. And so, a lot of times our boys need opportunities to be able to express their views and their opinions, to be able to understand that they're not the only ones who experience these types of things, and to also understand that they have a space to be able to feel welcomed and to have people around them who support them and who want to help teach them to basically how to know how to play the game. Because it's really what it is. It's not really just, we don't want to send our kids out here and just say, you figure it out. Because I've heard that from parents to say, well, I had to figure it out. They're going to have to figure it out too. And how fair is that of our children? And you really expect them to just figure it out. They're going to go one or both ways. And you're not setting them up for success if you just send them out there into the world without the proper tools or knowledge. And so, that's what programs like the Chauncey Glover Project is all about. That's where the intervention is needed, where it's necessary, because it is that remedy. It provides that intervention. It provides those life skills training, the things that we take for granted that we think everybody should just know, but everybody doesn't know. And you don't know what you don't know. So how can you really say that you're prepared to go out and to, be a productive human being in society if you don't know how to open a bank account, if you don't know how to balance a checkbook or understand how the money works and goes in and out and things outside of just using your Cash App card, little things like that. How to apply for a job, how to apply for college and what that looks like, how to write a college application essay or a scholarship, to sit in an interview so you can get a job. How do you dress for that interview? What are things that you need to know? So just preparing them for those, specific moments. How do you tie a tie? Because everybody doesn't know how to tie a tie. And although YouTube is a great learner, it's nothing like having that hands-on
In
one-on-one
person.
to be able to, do things like that. And so that's just kind of what, the focus of our program is. And
Hmm.
so we have, 12 young men who have been in the program for at least 2 or 3 years and have been mentored by Chauncey and by our team and staff of mentors and the community that we bring in to help provide some of that life skills training. And they have all since graduated from high school, which we're so very, very proud of. And right now, all roads lead to them and their Black Tie Gala that's coming up, that our event that we have happening, which is, where they will show it all and showcase it all. It is providing that space on stage for them to basically kind of share their stories and tell you where they've been and where they plan to go.
That's awesome. It's just so many deep things that you hit on within that brief explanation of that. I mean, it's just so many things that are just so good, I think, and like we talked about, so needed. Like all of
Mm-hmm.
those things are needed, and skills are needed. And I think it's truly a blessing to have an organization, truly a blessing to have people in their lives to help guide them in that manner. As you were
Mm-hmm.
saying those things, I was reflecting on like my personal journey, and
Mm-hmm.
just like all of those points you hit on, single parent mom, small hometown, but I was blessed to have people that were the example for me, just like you
Mm-hmm.
said, with the mentors. And because I was able to see those people be the example, it really helped mold me into the person that I am today. And
Mm-hmm.
so now, in turn, I wholeheartedly, with everything I got, every fiber in me, believe that it's important for us to be the example and give that back,
Mm-hmm.
because I know what it feels like to receive it,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Hmm.
hit on that a little bit if you don't mind. Just kind of like the cycle of life. How like within the program, some of the things that the students are able to see how that's going to benefit them.
Absolutely. And I think, and even now, because I did actually, what a lot of people don't know is that I did my doctoral research on the program and
Mm,
on the influence of the program in their ability to graduate from high school, go off to college, and to, experience some sort of success in that area. And so, what I noticed throughout my research is that they never, because all of the stories that I told through my research was from young men who had already completed the program and were already matriculating through college. And so a lot of them in, our interviews, they had a very big opportunity to kind of reflect on their experiences.
yeah,
And at the time, they didn't really know what those experiences with that they had within the program, how they would benefit them for the future, but very much so attested to the fact that it did make a major impact in their just going through school. And it's like, yeah, they got to school, but what happens while they're there?
there, yeah,
Being
yeah.
able to, stand up against peer pressure because you are away from
Mhm.
home. It is just you. You're having to make these decisions.
Yep.
The discipline portion of it, as
Mhm.
keeping up with your assignments and, being held accountable for the things that, like we held them accountable in the program. Our boys dress in uniforms when they meet with us. They have a schedule that they have to follow. They're being held responsible for making sure they remember dates and all of the things and whatnot, and as well as just keeping up with preparing them for when they go to these colleges and universities, especially if they're going to somewhere like a PWI. And now you're having to mix and mingle with people that you've never had to mix and mingle with before, who, now you got to learn how to study. Now you got to learn how, you're really having to keep up and, keep up academically, with another group of people that weren't really having to worry about before. And so, and even some of them, a lot of them, because of the culture that we build around the program, we really focus a lot on family and brotherhood and making sure that you keep your village around you and you make sure that you keep in tune with the people who have your back. Your brothers are the people that you can count on. Your brothers understand whatever you may be experiencing, all of those things. And so when they get to college, they often seek out the same types of experiences. So many of them pledge and they pledge a fraternity, and some of them have even come in and they pledge the fraternity and then they go into leadership positions within the fraternity. We've had
Yes.
students who have been presidents of their chapters. And
Wow.
one of them told me, he said, well, we were preparing for this big event, and they were rehearsing and things, and I just took them through all the things that y'all taught us when we were preparing for the gala. And we would do it just like y'all taught us to do it. And so they all the experiences that they have become transferable,
Come on.
different environments.
Yes.
That's really what we want to be able to teach them. That's where it becomes life skills training,
Yep.
not just academia or whatever, but just being able to mold yourself so that you can be prepared for any setting, any environment, any situation.
So love all of that, right?
Hmm.
Because that's my jam, right? You
Hmm.
don't know that about me yet. You will. I'll let you know later. But like I so love all of that, um, because like you said, it's not just school setting. It's not just hearing this. No, that it's life skills,
Hmm.
right? It's transferable skills that you can take to any setting and be able to use. And I love the examples you gave about, like the gala. Like you didn't they didn't know that the planning for that is going to help them down the road in their leadership.
Hmm.
But things like that, it's so good when they can see them and apply the things that they're blessed and
Absolutely.
fortunate to
Yeah.
see and be around. Like, and I believe that, and one of my pastors says this, life change happens in the application. And it's
Hmm.
awesome to see how you talked about, the young man, the leadership there that he saw with you all, but then now he can use that in the fraternity. That's life changing right there.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
good. Well,
absolutely.
yeah. So I think the word, and you said this word, and when you were talking, um, the word that comes up for me when I hear all of this, right, is success, right? Because I
Hmm.
think it's awesome success for all. It's awesome success that will transcend all barriers. I think it's awesome success that will leave a lasting legacy, right?
Hmm.
So let's hit on success. Like, just what is your definition of success?
To me, I think success is just really just walking in your purpose. Mostly, it's obviously success is meeting some sort of goal. It's accomplishing something, but that it doesn't translate unless it's meaningful, right? I feel like success has to be meaningful. It's when you're walking in your purpose, you are indeed accomplishing those, the goals that you set for yourself, the goals that, you feel like should be accomplished and realized in the dreams and things and aspirations that you have. To me, that is all success. If I wake up this morning and I have, helped change someone's trajectory of life, then I have been successful at that, and so that, and to me, and that is part of my purpose. And so to me, that is what success looks like.
So good. All
Hmm.
right. So you kind of earlier you kind of hit on, what the Chauncey Glover project is about. You talked about the movements, the initiatives, the things that you guys do, the groundwork. But you have an event that's coming up. I'd love for you to get an opportunity to share with the audience about the event so that they can go check it out and show you guys some love and support.
Absolutely. So right now, all roads lead to the our annual Black Tie Gala, which is sort of the culminating event of the experiences that our young men have when they're in the program, and it's sort of a rite of passage type of situation, and it's filled with student performances and student written monologues. So when we're talking about, kind of the preparation for the gala and planning for the gala, a lot of it is student centered. It is based off of them. It's their opportunity to be able to have a voice and to share their stories and to share who they are, what they've been through, and where they're going. And so it's their moment to really kind of shine. And it becomes a healing moment too, because when you have to talk about where you've been, you're bringing up, past traumas and things that may not be so easy to talk about, right? And so now here you are on stage because we're set in a theater style setting. We're not at tables and eating banquet chicken and things like that. Chauncey was very particular that it was a theater. It's a theatrical show and program that's happening. And, so there's a creativity piece to it. And there's also a storytelling piece that happens along with it. But within that storytelling and within the preparation, these young men are transforming. So you're witnessing this transformation live on stage. And so you kind of see where they started, and then you end up with and it's not even the end version of them, it's just the version that where they are now. It's this
This
one
chapter.
level of success. It's this
Yeah.
one, it's closing out this one chapter and pushing them and propelling them forward to the next so that they can continue to experience success in other areas. And so this is a powerful night. You probably won't leave untouched and without experiencing some sort of emotion. It is I cry even just during rehearsals just
Yeah.
because it is so powerful to see. And then also I know where they started, and so to see the trajectory of how they've come through this process, and always an amazing experience for me. And it just really kind of resonates, and it reminds you of why this work is needed. and why, programs like ours truly work, and why we need more of them. And we need to, to make sure that our programs are providing these types of atmospheres that can foster this type of environment for our young men. And so that's happening this Saturday, June the 14th, at the George Theater in the Galleria area. It's off of Westheimer, and it's at 7 p.m. It's black tie, so it means to put on your fancy dress and to look nice, or your tuxedos or whatever have you. If you feel like you want to rent a tuxedo, Men's Warehouse is one of our sponsors, and they are providing discounts to the community. If you mention the Chauncey Glover Project and our group code when you go in to have your rental or even purchase any of the items at the Men's Warehouse for the event, then they will give you a certain percentage off of your attire and your clothing for that evening. And so that's a big thing to help get the community involved. We really want the community to show up for our young men because they have worked hard, for the last 2 to 3 years. And this is the time, for, them to show that they are worth investing in, that their stories are worth telling, because this is a group of, this group of young men often goes silent, and they don't, necessarily get a chance to be heard, especially when we're talking about their past experiences in school and things of that nature, where they don't get a chance to share their side of the story. They don't get a chance to explain their why they responded the way that they did or anything like that. So this is their opportunity to have the full floor and to have all eyes on them, uninterrupted, to basically share their stories. And so you do have that identity, and they're going to step into their identity. It's part of our arts and identity initiative piece of the curriculum that we provide. And it provides a lot of confidence for them that in all these skills that they're learning within this gala and preparing for the gala is what prepares them for the future and what makes it transferable. So the tickets are available on our website, www.thechaunceyGloverProject.org. The $50 for general admission tickets and $100 for VIP seating, which gives you reserved seating and access to the food and hors d'oeuvres that's available during our after reception after the event. And so we do have Bees Wine Bar, who's serving as our caterer for the event. And we are, grateful to have partnered with so many other organizations within the city and to be able to support us. And so we would love for the city to come out and just collectively come together, especially with such unrest and uncertainty that's happening within our community now. We need to stick together more than ever. And so this is a chance to be able to do that, to uplift this next generation of young men.
I love it. I love what it's about. I love what it stands for. I love everything about it. So, as we close, I just want to say again, thank you so much for coming on and sharing about the journey, about the project, about the event, about the all of the amazing things. And so, thank you for taking the time again for being on the Success Chronicles.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, ma'am. And thank you guys for checking out this Hangout and Highlight session. We'll see you next time. God bless.
Go get it.